Yes, good morning, dear listeners, and welcome to another edition of In the Papers on iPower 102.7 FM. I can hear myself. This one, no, I guess I could leave it a customer. Iboloa. Not loud at all. Yes, a very beautiful morning out there, and welcome to another edition of In the Papers on iPower 102.7 FM. On the program, we review and preview newspaper headlines making rounds in today's newspaper. Today we have headlines from the Vanguard newspaper. We have headlines from the Daily Post, the Daily Trust, the Punch newspaper, and the Sun newspaper. My name is Florence Ibhareman, and this is in the papers on iPower 102.7 FM. Yes, so beginning from the Hope newspaper this morning, where we have Osun government sets up committee to verify election violence victims. Yes, on Ondo State, we have Ondo Speaker. It was argued that you were over severance pay, assembly recruitment, and that headline is coming from the Hope newspaper this morning. Five hospitalized as transport union clash in Kwara State. And that headline also is coming to you from the Punch newspaper this morning. Yes, still on the Punch newspaper this morning, talking Awujale, ruling households, Ogun, and kingmakers. Still on the pages of the Punch newspaper this morning, Fubara felicitates with Muslims on Eid al-Maulud, urges peace and tolerance. Still taking headlines from the Punch newspaper this morning, where we have investing in women's health not optional, and that is coming from the federal government. Yes, welcome back. The program is still in the papers on iPower 102.7 FM. Yes, still taking headlines where we have seven killed, two injured in Ogun clash. Still taking headlines from the Punch newspaper, where we have NDLEA arrests five suspected destroys cannabis farm in Edo State. Yes, away from the Punch and now to Daily Post, where we have Lagos CP urged to replace investigative team probing Mobat death. Tinubu flags of reconstruction of Ibadan Ijebu-Ode Road, approves Abeokuta Ibadan dualization. And that headline also is coming from the Daily Post newspaper this morning. Stop the divisive utterances, actions. Tinubu wants Nigeria. That headline is coming to you from the Sun newspaper this morning. Yes, glad to have you back. The program is in the papers on iPower 102.7 FM. On the program, we preview newspaper headlines making rounds in today's newspaper. Of course, you can join us on our social media handles on Facebook, Instagram, and X at iPower 1027 FM. You can also listen to us on Radio Garden. We are live in Imurele, Owo, Ondo State, Nigeria. Beginning from the Hope newspaper this morning, where we have Osun government set up committee to verify election violence victim. Now the details. The Osun State government has constituted a committee on election violence victims to verify claims that by persons affected by election-related violence and oversee the disbursement of the 500 million election violence victim relief and endowment fund established by the state government. The committee, constituted by Governor Ademola Adeleke, is expected to undertake a transparent and credible verification process to identify genuine victims and ensure that relief reaches persons who suffered losses or hardship as a result of the election-related violence. According to a statement signed by the governor's spokesperson, Mr. Olawale Rashid, the committee, chaired by the Speaker of the Osun State House of Assembly, Mr. Adewale Egbedo, while Mr. Shola Shonibari, Executive Secretary of the Osun Investment Promotion Agency, will serve as Secretary. Other members of the committee include Mrs. Eniola Omotosho, Mr. Emmanuel Ologun, representing civil society organization, Alhaja Balikis Akinyele, a nominee of the Nigerian Police Force, Alhaji Moshood Suleiman of the Ministry of Information, Moses Feromi, representing the Ministry of Justice, and a nominee of the Department of State Service, DSS, Mr. Yemi Lawal. According to the state government, the committee is mandated to receive and verify petition, claims, and supporting documents submitted by victims of election-related violence. It will also determine the eligibility of claimants and recommend appropriate relief for verified victims in line with the guidelines approved by the state government. The government said the initiative was part of Governor Adeleke's commitment to supporting citizens who suffer injury, losses of properties, displacement, or other forms of hardship arising from election-related violence. For more details of that news, see the Hope newspaper with this headline. Osun government set up committee to verify election violence victims. Yes, away from the Hope newspaper and now to the Punch, where we have Fubara felicitates Muslims on Eid Maulud, urges peace and tolerance. Now the details. Rivers State Governor Simalai Fubara has extended warm felicitation to the Muslim faithfuls in Rivers State and across Nigeria on Eid Maulud, the celebration of the birth of the Holy Prophet Muhammad. In a goodwill message to commemorate the feast, Fubara enjoyed the Muslim faithfuls to reflect on the noble virtues of peace, compassion, tolerance, selflessness, and service to humanity. The governor, in a statement released by his chief press secretary on Tuesday morning, today said these virtues, which the prophet held dear, have the potential to promote harmony and positive change in the society. For more details, see the Punch newspaper with this headline. Fubara felicitates Muslims on Eid Maulud, urges peace and tolerance. We are still taking headlines from the Punch newspaper this morning, where we have Pack Your Bags. Malaye tells Tinubu ahead of 2027 polls. Now the details. The chieftain of the African Democratic Congress, Adino Milaye, has had President Bola Tinubu and members of his families to start packing their belongings from the presidential villa. He declared that the ADC will defeat the ruling All Progressive Congress in the 2027 general election. Milaye said the outcome of the election would reflect Nigeria's growing dissatisfaction with the Tinubu's administration, which he accused of failing to address hunger, insecurity, and other challenges confronting the country. The former senator and lawyer spoke in an interview with Arise Television on Monday. He expressed confidence in the ADC's chance, saying the party's winning strategy was straightforward because Nigeria was ready for a change of government. He alleged that despite the government borrowing money to fund its budgets, several contracts awarded by government remained unpaid. Milaye said the hardship, insecurity, killing, and alleged corruption in the country had created a disconnect between Nigerians and the government. He maintained that Nigerians. The ADC chieftain also criticized the Tinubu's administration, saying Nigerians were now afraid of government rather than the government being mindful of the reaction of the people. For more details, see the Punch newspaper with this headline. Pack your bags, Milaye tells Tinubu ahead of 2027 polls. 5 hospitalized as transport union clash in Kwara State. Now the details, and that is coming from the Punch newspaper this morning. Pandemonium broke out in Ilorin, the Kwara State capital, on Monday as members of rival transport union clashed, leaving more than 5 persons injured and hospitalized. Punch Online gathered that the violence, which disrupted activities around the Idiaraba area and the Itakundimo area of the metropolis, was said to have followed an alleged attack on the office of the National Association of Road Transport Owners and Residents and Motorists, as residents and motorists fled the area when situation escalated. A resident, Mubarak Bello, said the disturbance began when some youth arrived in tricycles armed with cutlasses and other weapons and moved towards the NATO office. A member of the NATO, Abubakar Olatubosun, accused members of the National Youth or National Union of Road Transport Workers, the Road Transport Employers Association of Nigeria, and the Tricycle Owners, and as well as Operators Association of Nigerians, of attacking members of his association. Olatunbosun alleged that the attack occurred as NATO members were heading to the Kwara State Police headquarters to seek intervention over the dispute. He added that the association will not resort to self-help, insisting that its members are choosing to pursue redress through the law with respect to law, and we will not take the laws into our hands. Kwara has always been known as a peaceful state, and we do not want the matter to degenerate. 2 persons injured during the violence were Abdulwasiu Jamiu and Lukman Yada are also alleged that their tricycles were forcefully taken from them. Jamiu alleged that several tricycle operators were attacked and injured during the clash. They attacked us, they took away our tricycles and injured some of our members. For more details on that news, see the Punch newspaper with this headline: 5 hospitalized as transport union clash in Kwara State. Yes, still on the pages of the Punch newspaper this morning, talking autonomy. Judicial workers lock out Edo Assembly workers. Now the details. Edo judiciary workers under the auspices of the Judicial Staff Union of Nigeria on Monday locked out the workers of the Edo State House of Assembly over plans to repeal financial autonomy for both the judiciary and the legislatures. The judicial workers blocked the gate and carried placards with several inscriptions while demanding a stop to the planned repeal of the financial autonomy law. But the Speaker, Idiye Yekini, explained that the word repeal was an error and that what they planned was to amend the law. He said the plan was to set up an agency to ensure accountability and proper execution of projects under the autonomy arrangement. For details of the news, see the Punch newspaper with this headline: Judicial workers lock out Edo Assembly workers, and that is coming from the Punch newspaper this morning. Away from the Punch newspaper and now to the Sun, talking Kanu's conviction. Lawyer accuses NBA of silence as criminal justice sets ablaze. Now the details. A legal practitioner, Christopher Chidera, has written to the Nigerian Bar Association (NBA) and copied the International Bar Association (IBA), accusing the NBA of holding a jamborees in Port Harcourt and maintaining studied silence while criminal justice in Nigeria burns, drawing interference to the conviction of the leader of the indigenous people of Biafra, IPOB, Nnamdi Kanu. Chidera said it was disturbing that the appeal court on October 13, 2022 discharged Kanu and quashed the charge against him, that notwithstanding he was not freed. Chidera said it was unfortunate that despite the fact that no judicial intervention suspending the effect of the criminal appetite judgment was made, no lawful mechanism was invoked to extinguish the consequences of the discharge, yet Kanu was not released and the NBA kept quiet. He said the most disturbing aspect of the scenario is that it happened and the NBA watched in silence. The legal practitioner noted that before the Court of Appeal discharge, Kanu had already endured 14 months of detention without charge, following his extraordinary retention to Nigeria. Chidera said the Nigerian legal system cannot be allowed to normalize the proposition that a government can disobey a criminal appetite judgment and then invoke civil procedure to prevent the judgment from taking effect. The lawyer, while asking whether the government should disobey the court order and then obtain judicial protection from the consequences of its disobedience, advised the NBA to act decisively rather than continue to pretend that it is merely another case involving controversial defendants. For more details, see the Sun newspaper with this headline. Lawyer accuses NBA of silence as criminal justice sets ablaze. Yes, still on the Sun newspaper this morning, where we have Ogogo's death, a major loss to Nigeria's creative industry, cultural heritage. That is coming from the President Tinubu. Now the details. President Bola Tinubu has described the death of veteran Nollywood actor, filmmaker, and screenwriter Taiwo Hassan, popularly known as Ogogo, as a major loss to Nigeria's creative industry and cultural heritage. Tinubu, in a condolence message issued on Monday by a special advisor on information and strategy, Bayo Ononuga, said Ogogo's decades-long career made significant contribution to the growth of Yoruba language theater and Nigerian cinema. The president said the late actor used his talent, distinctive acting style, and powerful screen presence to entertain generations of Nigerians while showcasing the richness of Yoruba culture and Nigeria's diverse heritage. According to the president, Ogogo's body of work would remain as an important part of Nigerians' cultural history, while his mentorship and influence on younger artists had further cemented his legacy in the creative industry. Tinubu urged members of the creative industry and Nigerians to honor Ogogo's memory by preserving and building on the cultural values and artistic traditions to which he devoted his life. The president extended condolence to the federal government to Azan's family, colleagues, friends, and millions of admirers, praying that Almighty Allah would grant the deceased eternal rest and give his loved ones the strength to bear the loss. For more details, see the Sun newspaper with this headline. Ogogo's death, a major loss to Nigerian creative industry and cultural heritage. And that is coming from President Bola Tinubu. Still taking headlines from the Sun newspaper, talking Lagos Calabar Highway. Lagos Calabar Highway is Tinubu's best gift to Nigerians, and that is coming from Umayi. Now, the details. Minister of Works Dave Umayi has described the Lagos Calabar Coastal Highway as one of the most significant infrastructural projects of President Bola Tinubu's administration, saying its impact is already being felt by residents. Umayi made a statement on Monday at the flag off the dualization of the Ibadan-Ijebu-Ode Road in Ogun State. The minister highlighted the improvement in travel time between Lagos and Ekpe, saying the journey had previously took several hours can now be completed in minutes along the improved corridors. According to him, the transportation demonstrates the practical benefit of the Coastal Highway project. He recalled that traveling from Ekpe to Lagos previously took between 7 to 8 hours, but said the journey had been significantly reduced. The minister also defended the procurement process used to select the contractors handling the Lagos Calabar Coastal Highway, amid criticism that the project was not subjected to competitive bidding. Umayi explained that Nigerian procurement regulation allowed different methods, including special procurement, restrictive procurement, and open advertisement. He said the government opted for special procurement because the contractor's previous experience with a major coastal project. He urged that the company's experience in coastal engineering made it suitable for the project, adding that its previous work on controlling the Atlantic Ocean demonstrates its capacity to execute the highway. The minister also questioned criticism that the project did not follow due process, pointing to international interest in financing the project. Umayi further rejected claims that Tinubu administration was concentrating on new projects while allowing existing roads to deteriorate. He said the federal government was addressing existing road infrastructures along with its major legacy project. According to him, about 95% of the administration's legacy road projects are being implemented alongside existing road corridors that had previously suffered from poor conditions. For more details, see the Sun newspaper this morning with this headline: Lagos Calabar Highway is Tinubu's best gift to Nigeria, and that is coming from Umayi. Yes, now talking business on the Sun newspaper, where we have NAMA alerts public of circulation of fake recruitment appointment letter. Now the details. The Nigerian Airspace Management Agency, NEMA, has said it is alerting the general public on the activities of those it described as unscrupulous individuals impersonating the agency and issuing fraudulent recruitment and appointment letters to unsuspecting members of the public. In a statement signed by NAMA's Director, Public Affairs and Consumer Protection, Abdullahi Musa, it said it viewed the development with serious concern, saying these schemes are circulated to exploit innocent job seekers and compromise the integrity and corporate identity of the agency. For more details, see the Sun newspaper with this headline: NAMA alert public to circulation of fake recruitment appointment letters. Yes, away from the Sun newspaper and now to Daily Post, where we have a delicate task new Ocean CP on impartial policing and public trust. Now, the details. The Osun State Governor Ademola Adeleke has tasked the newly deployed Commissioner of Police Ibrahim Zungura with restoring public confidence, ensuring impartial policing, and improving security coordination across the state. Adeleke made the call on Monday when Zungura paid a courtesy visit to the governor following his assumption of duty as the new Commissioner of Police in Osun State. In a statement posted on his X handle, the governor said the state was ready to support the police command without any string attached, but expected the force to uphold fairness and professionalism in the discharge of its duties. It said the meeting was particularly significant as the state continues its effort to promote peace, reconciliation, and stability following the recent governorship election. Adeleke one welcomed Zungura, stated a commitment to impartial policing, peace and stability, while outlining 5 key areas that he expects the new commissioner to prioritize. The governor urged the police command to rebuild public trust by ensuring that officers carry out their duties professionally and fairly with the interests of residents in mind. He also called for stronger collaboration between the state government and the police, anchored on mutual respect, adherence to the rule of law, and impartiality. Adeleke further asked the new commissioner to review the internal operations of the command and take steps to address units alleged to have been compromised or perceived as politically partisan. The governor also requested a greater involvement of the police command in meeting the State Security Council, saying such participation would strengthen coordination among security agencies and improve state overall security architecture. His fifth demand was for the release of individuals he described as political detainees and an end to arrest he considered politically motivated. According to Adeleke, addressing these issues would help consolidate peace, strengthen confidence in security institutions, and promote reconciliation across the state. For details of that news, see the Daily Post newspaper with this headline. Adeleke task new Osun CP on impartial policing and public trust. Yes, still on Daily Post newspaper this morning, where we have Lagos CP urged to replace investigative team probing Mohbad's death. Now the details. A civil advocacy organization, United Advocates Group UAG, has called on the Lagos State Commissioner of Police Fatai Tijani to constitute a new investigative team to handle the ongoing reinvestigation into the death of singer Ilerioluwa Aloba, popularly known as Mohbad. The group said replacing the current investigators with officers who were not involved in the earlier probe would help guarantee an impartial, transparent, and credible investigation. The appeal was contained in a statement signed by the UAG's legal advisor, Oluwatosin Afolabi. The organization expressed concern that the fresh investigation, which began in April 2025, following the intervention of the former Inspector General of Police, had yet to reach a conclusion after being transferred to the Lagos State Police Command. According to the group, development that emerged during the process warranted further investigation and the questioning of relevant individuals. It also added that new fact prompted the Inspector General investigative team to visit Lagos twice, raising prima facie issues that requires the interrogation of relevant suspects. UAG warned that further delay in assigning the matter to a fresh team as the State Criminal Investigation Department's SCID Panti could further erode public confidence in the process. The organization urged the officers who participated in the previous investigation should not be taken with reviewing the same allegation, stressing that an independent team would strengthen the credibility of the exercise. For more details, see the Daily Post newspaper this morning with this headline: Lagos CP urged to replace investigative team probing Mohbad's death. We may soon have fake states, governors, assemblies, and that is coming from Yao Mohammed and other fictitious agency. Now the details. The discovery of the second alleged fake government agency operating within the Nigerian federal government structure has sparked fresh concerns about the country's system of oversight and accountability. The latest case involving the National Branch Development and Made in Nigeria's Special Project Office, which the Independent Corrupt Practices and Other Related Offences Commission (ICPC) said was an unauthorized organization allegedly operating from a government building in Abuja. ICPC Chairman Dr. Musa Adamu Alius SAN said the organization was allegedly promoted by George Buchi Nwambweze, who reportedly used different variations of his name following the briefing by the ICPC. President Bola Tinubu ordered Nwambweze's arrest and the suspension of 3 permanent secretaries in the office of the Secretary to the Government of the Federation. The latest discovery was made during the Commission's investigation into the disputed Presidential Foreign Intervention Promotional Council (PFIPC), allegedly promoted by Adeniyi Adeyemi Matthew. The PFIPC had reportedly operated from the Federal Secretariat for about 2 years before the presidency disowned it as fraudulent. The emergency of another alleged fake agency has now raised questions about how organizations with questionable government status are able to operate within and around official structures. Governance expert and public commentator Dr. Joe Abba said the problem could be wider than the 2 cases currently attracting attention. He said some of the organization only need a government surrounding name, a government looking logo, and an SGF address to raise funds. Abba recalled an experience from his time in government when an organization repeatedly offered him and his staff free foreign trips under the guise of a mentorship program. He became suspicious when its promoter could not clearly explain who established the organization and how it was funded. For more details, see the Daily Post newspaper with this headline: We may soon have fake states, governors, and assemblies, and that is coming from Yao Mohammed. Others on fictitious agencies. Yes, still on Daily Post newspaper this morning, talking Taraba State. Taraba Council Chairman embarks on Bush tour, reaffirms zero tolerance for insecurity. Now the details. The chairman of the EB local government area of Taraba State, Emmanuel Ibandoma, has reaffirmed his admission's zero tolerance policy towards insecurity, assuring residents that the protection of lives and properties remains his top priority. Ubandoma gave the assurance on Monday when he embarked on a bush-to-bush supervision and surveillance tour to the local government areas alongside security operatives. The exercise, according to the chairman, was aimed at assessing the prevailing security situation, identifying vulnerable locations, and strengthening security measures across the country. Acting in capacity of the Chief Security Officer of the Council, Ubadona, was observed to have personally visited key entry points, remote locations, and other areas considered vulnerable to criminal activities. The chairman also used the opportunity to interact with security personnel deployed to various locations, assess their operational challenges, and boost their morale in the discharge of their duty. Ubaduma stressed that peace and security were essential prerequisites for economic growth and sustainable development, noting that no meaningful development could take place in an atmosphere of insecurity. For more details, see the Daily Post newspaper with this headline: Taraba Council Chairman embark on Bush tour, reaffirms zero tolerance for insecurity. Yes, so welcome back. The program is still in the papers on iPower 102.7 FM, where we preview and review newspaper headlines making rounds in today's newspaper. Yes, a quick look at the Guardian newspaper this morning, where we have a DIWA trains 55 adolescent girls on digital dignity bootcamp in Niger State. Now the details. Development Initiative of West Dignity Bootcamp DDB training for 55 secondary school girls aged between 15 and 18 years from 11 schools and across 6 local government councils of the Niger State. Held at the Islamic Education Trust IET premises Mina on Monday 24th August 2026. The DDB in a 5-day residential leadership and future skill program designed to equip adolescent girls with digital literacy, online safety, leadership, STEAM exposure, and responsible digital citizenship skill. The board chairman, Diwa Sudar Suleiman Takuma, observed that the training is timely, saying that in recent times, the majority of female children had become the victim because of what they don't understand about social media. Takuma noted that the training would make the girls more aware, more responsible, and more visionary, more creative in what they do with their education. According to Suleiman, the important thing is that what lessons do we impact on the girls in making them successful in using the technology to enhance the education and that they are getting, and also go as they go into life, the successful and how to successfully choose their career, such as doctors, teachers, accountants, lawyers, and whatever they choose to go into. The board chairman of DIWA urged the relevant government agencies to appreciate teachers on what they do, suggesting that teachers should be given better remuneration and also make their working condition better. For more details, see the Guardian newspaper with this headline: DIWA trains 55 adolescent girls on digital dignity bootcamp in Niger State. Yes, lastly, talking entertainment from the Sun newspaper this morning, where we have God behind my success, not Don Jazzy, and that is coming from One Day Cole. Nigerian singer Wande Cole has credited God for his success in the music industry, rejecting the narrative that his career breakthrough was solely the result of his former record label boss, Don Jazzy. Wande Cole said he and Don Jazzy were two talented individuals who worked together to achieve success, while emphasizing that he believes God ultimately made his career successful. Speaking in an interview with Channels Television, the singer said, God is the reason for my success. I give all the credit to him because he was the one who brought me out and made me successful. The singer also addressed the widely held belief that Danjazzy was responsible for discovering and making him a star. Wande Cole was discovered by Don Jazzy and the band in 2006 after the duo watched him perform at the campus event at the University of Lagos. He was subsequently signed by the Moit record label a day after meeting, beginning the career that would establish his name as one of Nigeria's leading contemporary singers. The singer gained widespread recognition after featuring prominently on Mohit's compilation album Curriculum Vitae, around released in 2007. He further cemented his status with the release of his debut studio album Motion 2 Mohita in 2009. For more details, see the Sun newspaper with this headline: God behind my success, not Don Jazzy. And that is coming from One Day Call. Yes, and that is where we draw the curtains on today's edition of In the Papers on iPower 102.7 FM. Many thanks to you all for staying tuned and being taking a ride with us this morning. Up until tomorrow, 9 a.m., we will come again with another fresh edition of In the Papers. We implore you to please